Welcome back, my name's Gareth MacD, and today I have a JFK International Airport model airport update with emphasis on the current global pandemic. With this video, I'm trying to be as accurate as possible with the models I have, so where I give a flight number, these flights are currently still flying. The first aircraft we have is a Delta Airlines 737-900 in the Spirit of Seattle livery, and this aircraft has just arrived from Boston as DL4926. Next door to that, we have another Delta 737, this time in an 800 variation, and this aircraft is also just pulling into the gate and has arrived from Atlanta as DL1130. Moving along to gate G6, we have a Delta 737-900ER, and this aircraft is operating as DL5194 and is getting ready to push back for Detroit. A nice little Delta lineup here at JFK Terminal 1. Next to that, we have a much bigger domestic aircraft. This is a Hawaiian 767-300ER and will be departing to LAX as HA2301, and then will be continuing on to Honolulu. Next, we have a United 757-200, which has just arrived from Dublin as UA7633, and this aircraft is in a retro continental livery. A Delta lineup at the other side of Terminal 1 as well, starting off with the Delta 737-900. This aircraft is off to Seattle as DL302N and is about to depart in about an hour or so. Next to that aircraft, we have a sister aircraft, another Delta 737-900, and this aircraft is currently getting pushed back and will be departing to Los Angeles LAX as DL658. And to end off the Delta Airlines on this side, we have a Delta Airlines 737-800 currently deboarding by bus, and it has arrived from Boston as DL5675. Looking at this Delta Airlines lineup, I think it's quickly important to touch on the situation at the airline. Bastian said in a statement that the speed of the demand fall-off is unlike anything he's seen before, and that the airline are moving quickly to preserve cash and protect the company. And with revenues dropping, they must be focused on taking costs out of the business at all costs. Despite this, Delta is still the biggest domestic operator out of JFK at the moment. And moving across to the other side of the airport, we start off with an empty gate, gate F4, and this will be filled with a Boeing 737-800 operating with American Airlines arriving from Charlotte as AA388. Next to that, we have a humongous Qantas A380-800, ironically, and this aircraft is operating as QF7554 and will be flying as a freighter before going back to Sydney. I quickly want to talk about the A380 situation at Qantas. They currently have grounded 8 of their aircraft until at least mid-September 2020, and there are 2 more that are undergoing maintenance and cabin refurbishments. This leaves just 2 of their massive A380-800s in the sky due to the pandemic. Next to that, at gate F2, we have an American 777-200ER, and this is one of their current 2 daily flights to London Heathrow, and this particular flight is getting ready for its departure as AA9432, getting the last few bags on board as well as a refuel before passengers will start boarding. Also about to make its way across to Europe, we have a very special aircraft, the British Airways A319-100. This aircraft operates in an all-business class configuration and will be operating to London City via Dublin, where it will refuel. And jumping across to Terminal 2, which has currently been closed by the airport and allowed for aircraft parking. Starting off with, we have 3 parked Delta 737s. This represents 3 of their 300 parked aircraft. A parked United 757-200 aircraft, as they opt to use more fuel-efficient aircraft. A parked Hawaiian 767-300ER, and an American 777-200ER. Next, we have Star Alliance parked aircraft, which have been allowed to park on this side of the airport. The first is a United Airlines 767-300. And next to that, a plane that has a very special place in my heart, a A340-600, which operates with South African Airlines. South African Airlines are actually the reason I got into aviation. Growing up in South Africa, they were the first planes I ever saw, the first plane I ever flew on, and they'll always have a special place in my heart. They've been operating for 87 years, and it is going to be very sad to see them go. This aircraft operated as SA-204 under the famous call sign Springbok. And I think it's only right to quickly touch on the situation at South African Airlines. SAA has relied on bailouts and state-guaranteed debt agreements for years. Public Enterprise Minister Pravin Gordhan said earlier this week that the cost of starving off the COVID-19 pandemic would take preference over funding the airline. And Finance Minister Tito Mboweni said that the carrier's closure could help shore up state finances. It's important to note that there already is rumors of a new airline emerging, but I'll make a video on that shortly if you are interested. Lastly, we have an Austrian A330-200, and in a statement from JFK, it recently announced that no flights have been detected in the last month, so the airline has been declared inactive at the airport. Shifting across to Terminal 3, we have an American 777-200ER. This plane is currently parked waiting for its departure later today to London Heathrow as AA6135. Then an empty gate, F3. This will be filled with an Airbus A330-200 arriving from Dublin shortly with Aer Lingus. Then we have a Virgin 787-900 also operating to London Heathrow as VS10, and that'll be departing from gate F2 in a few hours. Then we have some parked GSEs. Obviously, with so many grounded flights across the world, the demands at airports have plummeted, and not as many staff are needed for the reduced amount of flights daily. And jumping across to Terminal 4, we have a beautiful 777 lineup at this side of the terminal as these aircraft get ready for various international departures and flights across the country. To start off with, we have an American 777-200ER. This specific aircraft has just arrived from LAX and then will be moved to Miami to help American deal with demand changes. We then have a 777-300ER, this plane in the Cathay Pacific livery operating with Cathay Pacific, and it will be departing to Hong Kong as CX841. In the next gate, we have a Pakistan International Airlines 777-200ER. And then a China Southern 777-200ER, and this aircraft has just arrived from Wuhan, China, which is thought to be where the coronavirus outbreak began, and this aircraft is operating as CZ8419. Then we have an Emirates 777-300ER. Crew are just coming on the back to clean the plane before its departure to Dubai, and they are using special cleaning methods to get the plane ready for its departure. Moving across to the other side of the airport, we have more international flights lined up, starting with an arrival from the humongous Emirates A380-800, which is just getting pulled into gate B6 now and ready for disembarking. And this aircraft has just arrived from Dubai. We then have a Swiss A330-300. This airline has currently stopped its flights to New York as all LX flights are currently being suspended internationally and very heavily reduced. Next up, we have an Etihad A330-200, also currently suspended from JFK, and this is operating, would be operating to Abu Dhabi. Also currently not flying to the States is Air Asia X. This is an example of one of their aircraft in the form of an A330-300. As I said at the beginning of the video, obviously all my models can't serve JFK at this current time. And then we have a Malaysia Airlines A380-800, also not currently flying to New York, but is serving as a cargo plane and helping move supplies across the country. A nice lineup. Obviously not all of these aircraft are currently flying to JFK, and a nice shot of all the A330s currently parked at the airport. Moving across to runway 27 right, which is currently temporarily being used to store grounded aircraft. This is an image I'm sure you've seen across many news sources and news channels lately, which shows the thousands and thousands of grounded aircraft. Here's a real-life example of Delta Airlines grounded aircraft, just to show you the scale and the size of the groundings that have been occurring. I also then wanted to move on just to show you some other airlines who've grounded their planes. They might not be at JFK, but this is how their aircraft would be parked and grounded. We have Malaysian Airlines A330-300 and American 777-200ER. And lastly, a Singapore Airlines A380-800. The A380-800 has been one of the first planes to be grounded by airlines across the world due to its huge capacity, the low demand to travel, and the massive amount of fuel it burns with its 4 Rolls-Royce engines. Looking at the grounded aircraft one more time before we shift to the other side of the airport where our cargo planes are currently parked. Cargo has seen a far less drastic decrease in demand as medical supplies have become a priority to be shipped across the world. First off, we have a Japan Airlines 747-400 operating as a freighter, and this aircraft will be filling up with medical supplies. Recently, I read an article about how gold and coronavirus and virus-related goods are taking up almost all the space on cargo planes at the current time. We then have a 747-400, this time in the China Airlines livery, also operating as a freighter. It's just getting its last few crates unloaded as it gets ready for its departure to Anchorage. Then we have a cargo B747-200, which is also operating to mainly move medical supplies around the US and between Asia and North America. As you can see, massive planes, but the 747-400 is one of the most common cargo planes in the world, currently flying and moving millions and millions and millions of tons of goods every day. Taxiing, we have an American 777-200ER. This was the plane we saw earlier in the video, and it is getting ready for its departure to London Heathrow. And to end the video off, I thought it would be fitting for a Delta Airlines plane arriving from Atlanta. This is a 737-800. I just want to say a massive thank you to every single one of you for watching. Your support really does make a world of difference for me, and I appreciate it greatly. The last thing I quickly wanted to touch on is my situation with YouTube. About 4 years ago, I moved out of home to go study in a different city, but due to the pandemic, I am back. I just want to say I'm going to keep the content coming, so let me know in the comments what you'd like to see. I have a new series planned, and I'll spoil it quickly. I started building my airports about 7 years ago, and haven't built one in about 5 years. So my skills and expertise have definitely improved in that time. So I've decided to tackle a new task, and we'll be building a realistic, to-scale, perfect model airport that would be photorealistic and as accurate as possible. I'm going to be releasing that in episode form, so let me know if you're excited for that. And I will also be doing it as a sort of tutorial on how I build my airports. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. You mean the world to me. Please subscribe. I recently looked at my YouTube analytics, and 98% of my viewers aren't subscribed. So just hit that button. These videos take hours to film, edit, and make and put together. So taking 1 second to like, comment, subscribe, even turn the bell on really makes it worth it for me. Anyways, guys, please keep safe, stay home, listen to whatever your governments are telling you to do, and we will get through this. Peace.